Hey y'all, it's T from Tiny Cheeks Tarot coming in with a sample reading. This sample reading is of my mood therapy reading. I put a post on Instagram breaking down how we do the reading, and this is the sample reading that I used for the breakdown. We're going to go over it. I pulled for the collective, so let's get into it. For the mood therapy reading, we use the mood therapy cards. These are the mood cards. I really like these cards. I found them at the bookstore in a totally different section than the tarot section, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna use these cards how I want to use them, and they have just given me the best readings. Like, they're really dope. Everybody that I've given readings to, all my clients have really felt like it's been a therapy session. So that's why I named it mood therapy. I have a background in therapy, so there's that, but it all goes together. It's all really fun, and we're gonna get into this reading. The first part of the reading, I start with message cards. I actually pull these cards first and we go over these cards last. I do that a lot in my readings. I like how it ties everything together, even though it's the first thing. I really love how that happens, and I usually tend to do that a decent amount in my readings, if it calls for it. Most of the time I feel like it does, but if it calls for it. So we'll put these to the side. We'll go over those at the end, okay? Like I explained in the Instagram video, again, if you haven't seen it, there's the link to it in the description. We go through the emotions, feelings, moods that you're dealing with now. Those are the first part of the reading, and then the second part of the reading is the emotions, moods, feelings that you may be dealing with that you may not be sitting with the way that you should, or you're not working with the way that you should, or you're not dealing with. Okay, so let's get into this reading. Okay, let's get into this reading. So the first cards we have for the emotions, feelings, moods that people are dealing with right now is disappointment. I expected more. Disappointed. Okay, I expected more. Disappointed. The next card I have is if only. Regret. If only. And I love the faces on these cards. I feel like the faces very much go with our faces sometimes with these feelings and emotions. And then the last card we have is joy. Okay, joy. Open your heart to joy. Your life will change forever. Sorry, I couldn't see that. And I really love these cards. And this card specifically, especially among these faces, right? We have these faces and then this face. So I like that. So I wrote down a few things because I wasn't doing a live reading. So the first things I was thinking when I got these cards were that these two things definitely go together. The regrets feels like regret for things that brought me to where I am right now, and the disappointments that I'm feeling, right? I feel regret for not moving a certain way. I feel regret for not listening. I feel regret for not buying that at that time, or making sure I took care of that thing at that time, or it feels like whatever the circumstances of the disappointment, I kind of put myself in the situation, I exacerbated the situation, I didn't help the situation, kind of thing. And that's part of where the disappointment comes from. It doesn't even feel like necessarily like overarching, right, in terms of the disappointment. Like, I'm disappointed that I wasn't an architect. Like, it feels very like I'm disappointed in myself for not doing the little things I knew I should have did, or I'm disappointed in myself for not moving in the ways that I should have at that time when my intuition told me to, or when I had the money to do it, or when the support around me was more available, or whatever it was. Like, it feels like these small things that we didn't do that we regret lead to these bigger disappointments, right? Disappointments also feel like at this point that people are, it's like being in the same situation over again. So some of these disappointments are things that already happened, right? So it's like maybe you've been in a situation before where you didn't get your oil changed, right? And you knew that would fuck up your car. And once again, you waited and waited and waited, and now your engine almost blew up. Or, you know what I mean? It's like something like that, you know, like you knew you should have paid for this thing, but you didn't pay for the thing. And now, you know, you're getting letters about it that they're going to garnish your wages. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's the energy of it. Like, I should have done this thing at the time. I could have done it. I could have made it work, you know, and I've had it happen to me before, but for whatever reason, I just didn't listen to myself, or I didn't follow my intuition, or I didn't, you know, do what I needed to do. And now I'm here with it. And I really do regret that, you know, like that's the feeling of it. The other card that I have here, like I said, is joy. Open your heart to joy and your life will change forever, right? So the joy with these two other cards makes me feel like even though there are disappointments and regret, there's still part of me that feels like, you know, and still I rise. You know what I mean? There's still part of us that's like fucking optimistic that this shit will somehow work out and that things will be okay. And like, even despite this bullshit and the ways in which I've, you know, pigeonholed myself a little bit, like there's still this hope or this faith, even if it's little, right? It's not that big for everyone, but like there's still that part of it there. There's still that spark there for you, you know, that makes it feel like it'll be okay. This shit'll work out. I'm gonna be on the other side of this soon. The other thing is I'm playing music in the background. If y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know I love to do that. And the songs that came out are what I'm playing. The songs that came out when I was initially pulling the cards. So the first song that just played was The Internet, Better With Time. So again, like I was told that it gets better with time, right? Like we have these disappointments and these upsets, but like there's still this little glimmer of us feeling like shit is gonna be okay. Okay. Now, like I explained on the Instagram reel about the breakdown, we have these questions on the back of each card, right? And so when I do this reading individually, when I give personal readings with the, you know, with this deck and do the mood therapy reading, we go through, me and the client, the questions on the back. Now, what I normally tell my clients is that if you have an answer to these questions, then like hit me with the answer, right? So if you're watching this and I ask a question, pause, think about it, and if you can think about an answer right then, say it out loud as if I was sitting in front of you, okay? Give it to me. Or write it down, you know, or voice note it or something like that, right? And I tell my clients, if you don't have an answer for the question that I ask, it's okay, then you will definitely write that down. Okay, because the point of this reading is to go through what you're feeling and talk it out and be able to find solutions for it, and also go back to things when you need to, right? It's a matter of doing the homework and journaling about the things and the thoughts that come up for the questions that you may not have a immediate answer for, right? You may not have thought about, that may be hard to deal with or to think about, or you know what I mean? Like, so okay. Regret. The questions that go with regret are, first question, what are your regrets? What were the reasons for your actions? Okay. What are your regrets? What were the reasons for your actions? Now, granted, you can make this overarching and say like, you know, the big things in life you regret and how you got there and what that means about your character and yada, 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 right? Or you can take the specific disappointments and the specific things that we regret and are disappointed in right now and name those things, right? Just to give you an idea of how to, you know, how to go through this. Next question. What are the consequences for you now? What are the consequences for you now? Okay, and again, we're going through these to get information, to be able to get into the things that we're feeling, but it's not a matter of judgment, okay? I don't want y'all to judge yourselves based off the answers that you give. It's just information. Give the answer, let's go through it, we move on, okay? Next question. What can you do differently next time? Okay. What can you do differently next time? We have these disappointments. We have these feelings that we're sitting with. We feel regretful. So how can we change that? Again, actionable things that we can do. We're not just going to sit in disappointment and regret. Now, all cards actually also come with affirmations. So the affirmation for this card is, I can learn from the past. think through my options, and make the right decisions. All will be well. So here is the card. Let me move just in case you want to screenshot for the questions or the affirmations. Okay. Disappointed. We'll go through a little bit quicker. Ask yourself, why are you feeling let down? And part of the reason, like I said, we're feeling let down is because we've been here before. And that's okay. This is not a judgment. This is information. Why are you feeling let down? Next question. Are your expectations realistic? Are your expectations realistic? And I don't mean, are they realistic for where you feel you should be? I mean, are they realistic for what you have to work with right now? Okay. Are your expectations realistic? Third question. What can you do to make sure you no longer let events or the behaviors of others affect you? So in regrets, we had what can you do differently? And in this case, we're asking, what can you do to make sure you no longer let events or the behaviors of others affect you? Okay, so not only what you're culpable of, but how you allow those things to affect your decisions and your moves. Okay. Affirmation. I let go of expectations and accept all that comes my way with a smile. Okay. Again, let me try to get, there you go. For anybody who wants to screenshot that. And y'all, please, like I said, go back and answer these questions. Stop, pause, answer. Come back to me, give me the answer, right? And put them in the comments if you don't mind sharing with other people. There are people that may be feeling how you feel, you know. But like, make sure that you go through these, and with the affirmations, write them down, take a picture, take a screenshot, say them, the ones that resonate with you, out loud in the mirror to yourself. If you need a specific time, you're like, I don't know when to do it, Wednesdays are great. That's a Mercury day. Speak it out loud. You could look at planetary hours and see when there's a Mercury hour, but also upon waking or upon going to sleep, or while you're brushing your teeth, say it in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily have to say it out loud. Or, you know, when you're feeling bad, or when, you know, you're triggered by one of these things, use the affirmation. You know, it's the perfect time. Okay, last card for the moods and feelings we're dealing with right now was joy. The questions we have are, what brings you joy? Ask yourself, what brings you joy? Now, this is a really good question. I feel like this is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, in terms of what brings me joy, and really like sitting with things outside of just working and doing things that are like work related, or like, you know, like I love to research, right? But sometimes I'm doing it and it's still kind of work, you know? So like, what are the other things that have nothing to do with anything at all, in a sense, right? Next question. What are your beliefs on life? What are your beliefs on life? Third question. How does joy touch your life? Okay, how does joy touch your life? Affirmation for this card. I connect with all the beauty of the universe and bathe in its glory. I bring joy to my life with gratitude and love. Turn that over for y'all. There you go. Also, the next song we had after the internet actually already went off, but it was Vivian Green, What is Love? Okay, and we were talking about disappointments, a little bit more about regret. And now the song that's playing is Quinn, Who Am I? Okay. All right. So that was the moods, feelings, emotions that we've been dealing with. Okay. These are the moods, feelings, and emotions that we may not have been dealing with, sitting with, comfortable with. Right? So we start with sorry. I know what I did was wrong, and I'm sorry. Now, we literally just had regret and disappointment. Okay, so it makes perfect sense to me that we got, in the emotions that we're not dealing with, that I'm sorry. Because a lot of times what happens is we make our mistakes so big that they almost become a part of who we are instead of just something we've done. Okay? And owning this shit allows you to be able to say, I made a mistake. That is not who I am. I want to do differently next time. Right? And we had those cards that ask the question of how we're going to do differently. So it does not mean that you are sorry as a person, meaning like, you know, like sorry sack of you know what I'm saying? It means that in that moment, you made a mistake and you regret and are disappointed in yourself for what you've done. And that's all that means. And it's temporary, you know? Okay. Questions. Ask yourself, how do you feel when you get things wrong? Probably a little bit like this. Okay. Probably a little bit like these. You know? Makes sense. How do you feel when you get things wrong? Do you communicate your thoughts and feelings? Do you communicate your thoughts and feelings? And not in a defensive or reactive way, but if you make a mistake, are you able to just readily say, I did this, I apologize? And if you're not, I really push you to think about the fact, or think about if you are holding on to that and making it all of you and not just situational. Because that could be why you're being defensive, because you don't want to be a sorry person or a shit person, right? Third question, what does your conscience tell you? What does your conscience tell you? And the affirmation, I don't always get things right, but I am willing to look at myself and learn. Okay, they forgot the I, but that's okay. You know why? Because we all make mistakes. That's okay. Doesn't define them. Still a good ass step. Okay. Sorry. So again, we had disappointment and regret. You feel sorry. That makes sense. After sorry, the next card we had that I'm going to get into is hurt. Okay? You're disappointed in yourself and others. You regret things that happened, the situation where you are, how you got here, that you're still here, right? Those of us that may have contributed are sorry that, you know, we contributed in the ways that we did. And it's okay to feel hurt by it. It's okay to feel hurt and to move through that hurt. Okay? We all feel pain from time to time, choked up, tearful, and sometimes confused. So it makes sense. Again, disappointment, regret, sorry. Ask yourself, in what ways are you hurting and why? And I really, really want y'all to sit with that question, okay? In what ways are you hurting and why? How does it feel? Second question. How does it feel? Third question, what can you do to make things better? What can you do to make things better? Okay. And the affirmation for this card is hurting makes me human and will guide me in the future. I will learn from this. Okay. Again, those cards ask, what are you going to do different? How are you going to think about this different? Will you move differently? How will you talk this out? You know, like, and so it's okay that it happened, that we came back here again, that we could have made things different and yada, yada, yada. Because it all will be well and you will learn from this. And if you really are that upset about being back here again, then you shouldn't end up here again. You know what I mean? Okay, y'all. All right, so we have disappointed, regret, sorry, now to the things we weren't dealing with. We have sorry, hurt, and then frustrated. All of these cards made total fucking sense, okay? Frustrated. Look at those eyebrows. Some of y'all make this face. Okay. Frustration has turned me from a normally peaceful, loving person into an irrational, angry one. I feel this. I know a lot of y'all, like, just that sentence right there, you felt. You felt. Especially if you've been feeling disappointment and regret and hurt. That shit makes you angry, you know? You're not just sitting around in joy constantly if you're feeling disappointment and regret. This is glimmers of things that shows up. This is us trying to stay positive and put us in that mindset. This is us trying to manifest something different, right? But that's not the constant state if these other things are in play. Not for most of us. Okay. Let's get into these questions. Frustrated. Ask yourself, what is the cause of your frustrations? Now, we already discussed our disappointments and our regrets and our hurts. So we have a great idea of like what the cause of most of our frustrations are, right? So if you want to skip this question, it makes total sense. Normally I do. Well, I shouldn't say normally because it's not a card that comes out normally, but if it falls that way in my personal readings, you know, then I'm like, listen, we went over that. We can move on from that, right? But if you have different frustrations or things that you want to like exercise or get off that are not the things that we already discussed, then again, pause and give it to me. Write it down, voice memo, whatever you got to do. Okay. Next question. What part are you playing in this situation? Do you like the view you have of yourself? So what part are you playing in this situation? And do you like the view you have of yourself? Okay. That's question number 2. Question number 3. How can you do things differently from now on? How can you do things differently from now on? Y'all know with all my readings, with these cards, without these cards, from when I first started reading, I'm always going to give you some actionable shit. I'm always going to ask you to be accountable. I'm always going to ask you to think about it. I'm always going to ask you to either lean into the energy we get with the cards that you like, or we're going to ask the cards how you change that shit, and you're going to have to do the work, right? But y'all, those of you that know, you know, okay? Affirmation. I rise above the frustrations in my life through love, hope, and a good sense of humor. Okay. Here you go, y'all. Let me move my finger. There we go. So y'all can screenshot that one. Again, let's go through these questions, y'all. Please comment that you went through the questions, or that you journaled, or give the answer in the comments if you like willing to share. Like, let me know this is working for you. Okay, next card we got was empathy. I feel it too. We're so connected. So again, all these other cards made sense to me, and to me this empathy card had to do with being empathetic with yourself, being graceful with yourself, having empathy for those who disappoint you, right? Having empathy for yourself in terms of the things that you regret doing, and not holding on to the things that you regret doing so heavily that you can't move forward or do new things. Okay? Now, ask yourself, who do you feel empathy towards? Who do you feel empathy towards? And for whatever reason, I'm feeling like if you are like 4th or 5th on the list of who you feel empathy towards, I want y'all to sit with that. I know that ain't a question, doesn't matter. That's something I want y'all to sit with. If when it comes to empathy, you are towards, the middle or bottom of your list, that's something. And just in terms of how you thought about it, right? You could say, well, no, I do think of myself. But if you ask the question and your answer of you came later, you thought about yourself later, that's a thing. Okay? Second question, how does being empathetic affect you? How does being empathetic affect you? Third question, how can you bring forward this gift in a positive way for the highest good? I like that. How can you bring forward this gift in a positive way for the highest good? And the affirmation for this card, we are all connected in universal oneness. I open my heart and soul to those around me with gratitude for divine love and protection. Okay. So despite all of the things, we still have joy, right? We have glimmers and pieces of joy and hope and knowing that shit gets better. And we could use more empathy. And if we're putting in more joy and lightness and we're letting go of some of these things, then we can have more empathy for ourselves and others. Because we realize how connected we are. I make mistakes, they make mistakes. If I'm sitting with the mistakes I make and they don't define me, well, then those mistakes also shouldn't define that person in terms of, like, you know, who they are based off that one thing. Now, if they've done 30 fucking 7 things, that's a different, you know, that then all of those things combined. But it's not just necessarily, you know, if we're able to make mistakes, people are able to make mistakes, the people that we love, you know. And we decide how we deal with them going forward. That way we don't have disappointments and regrets. The same way that we decide how we deal with our own situations going forward, so that we don't have these same disappointments and regrets. Okay? All right, y'all. So, the last emotion, feeling, mood we haven't been dealing with, to me makes sense based off of all of the shit we've been dealing with. Okay? Confident. I am who I am, comfortable in my skin. Comfortable in my skin. Cozy. Okay, I know y'all don't want me to sing. It's fine. But confident. Okay, I'm about to play cozy. But maybe not. I don't want Beyonce to shut us down. I'm gonna just keep moving. Anyway, I love you, babe. She's not gonna know. She's not gonna shut us down. Anyway, I'm moving on. Confident. This is a feeling and emotion that we're not dealing with, okay? We're not necessarily sitting in our confidence the way that we can or should, because we have disappointments and regrets and hurts and frustrations, and we're sorry. Which makes total fucking sense. But how are we going to be completely joyful and completely confident all of the time with all of this other shit going on? Now, if we could be, we are at, like, the peak of enlightenment, right? Then we wouldn't even have disappointments and regrets or hurts or frustrations. So that shit is not even, that's null and void right there. If we were at enlightenment, these things wouldn't even exist in our beings. So clearly we're not there yet, but we're not sitting in these things constantly, right? Because we have these things, but there's ways in which we need to sit in these things more, despite these things, right? Because we know that this shit is not always. And if I make changes, and if I believe I can make these changes, then I don't have to wind up in this same fucking predicament. Because I'm a smarten up. You know? All right. Ask yourself, what does... Urban soundscapes. Anyway, what does confidence mean to you? What does confidence mean to you? In what areas of your life are you most confident? How did you come to this point? That's all one question. Well, those are 2 questions for number 2. And what areas of your life are you most confident? How did you come to this point? And then our 3rd question is, what advice would you offer others on confidence? Whether you utilize it or not right now, you know, that's the question. What advice could you offer others on confidence? Affirmation. I totally and fully believe in myself. I am strong and powerful. I am confident. Okay? I really, really like that affirmation, especially at the end of all of this. Like, I think that's a really dope one. There you go, y'all. All right, so now is normally when I go over the message cards. So we'll turn them over because I don't even normally turn them over. So this one we had Crystal Technology. Crystal Technology. And usually I'll use a deck that's more of like an oracle-y, messagey deck to do the message cards. This time I'm using the Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle. This deck is cool. I really enjoy the artwork on it. I'll get the book just in case we want to see. I'll just go through real quick what I think. If you haven't been here before or on my Instagram, normally how I read is I go, you've seen, I go through with my intuition. I say what I'm feeling or thinking or what comes up for me, and then I'll usually go into the book or the questions or the cards and let you know what they say, and we'll put those things together. You pick up what makes sense, you put down what doesn't, you know? We'll go through like that, basically. So, like I said, first message card we got was crystal technology. It's very pink. We're in the clouds, lots of air energy, lots of sparkles. It's celestial. We have also that grounding energy of the crystal technology. Oh, there's a person inside the crystal. I just saw that. It's like fertile energy, birthing something new. And then we have this card, Silent Retreat. Oh, and the crystal technology card says silicone at the bottom. So we have Silent Retreat, silence. Okay. So to me, these cards, like I said, the first card, the silicone crystal technology, you have the ability to change the dynamic or the direction, right? We have this disappointment and these regrets for the shit that we coulda, woulda, shoulda done. But you really have the opportunity to let that shit go and allow it to catapult you. And not let it go like, oh, I don't care, but like really like, it's almost like putting it under your feet and letting that shit be a trampoline for you to utilize, to no longer be in the predicament that you don't want to be in, right? To be a different person, to be the person that you actually want to be. You know, silicone has been used in technology and has built so many things. It built a whole industry. You know, there's a whole town built off silicone, right? So there's this innovative energy. There's this energy of being able to rebuild and change and recraft and do shit differently. And not only do it differently, but do it completely differently in a way that you may have never seen before, that others may have never seen before. But we have to get through and work through these disappointments and these regrets and sit with the fact that we're sorry about things so that we don't do those things again, but we don't let them color who we are or hinder who we are by letting them color who we are, right? Or allow us to continue to be frustrated and sit in that frustration, right? We have empathy for ourselves and our mistakes, and when we make mistakes, even in the silicone phase, we're able to move on from that because we're confident that we know and we're doing and we're better and we can. Okay? So utilize this energy right now. Work on these things that you need to work on that we gave you, you know, that we went through the questions about, so that this joy can be more readily available to you, so that this confidence can be more readily available to you, so that you can utilize those things with this silicone energy to innovate your life, you know? Innovate your life. I like that a lot. Okay, Silent Retreat, next message card. And I think I'm just going to go through what I think about these instead of going in with the book. But anyway, Silent Retreat. So we went through a lot of heavy emotions, on the emotions that you know that you're dealing with and the emotions that you may not know that you're dealing with, or that you may not be sitting with that you're dealing with, right? And so, like I said, I want y'all, I implore y'all, I wish for you to sit with yourself and really journal and answer these questions and see what comes up and take it as information. And don't beat yourself up over the shit. Just take it and listen to yourself and realize the ways in which you want it to feel differently or you want it to be differently. And move through the feelings of disappointment and move through the feelings of regret without holding on to them as if they are you. Because you have the ability to change and be different. Okay? Give yourself empathy. Feel that frustration, but don't allow it to tamper the shit that you want to do. Don't allow it to hold you. Don't be held in your frustrations of shit and your disappointment so that you don't move forward. Okay? But silent retreat means that we got to take that time to really suss through this shit. so that we can get to this confidence, that cozy energy, okay? All right, y'all, that is our mood therapy reading. I hope y'all like that. Please let me know what you thought about this reading. And if you would like to, like I said, this is an offering, basically a sample offering of one of the offerings I have on my website, tinytarotreader.com. I do these personally. We can book a reading. Please let me know if there's anything you want me to know beforehand. You can put that in the notes. This reading is totally about sussing through your shit. I'm not a licensed practitioner, but I have a background in psychology, and I really love doing this reading because I feel like it really helps us to deal with the underlying things in a way that's not scary, especially because therapy can sometimes be scary for people, right? So I appreciate y'all. Go to the website, book this reading for yourselves, okay? I can't wait to see y'all. Put your comments in the bottom if you've been feeling this energy, if you can answer these questions, just whatever you're feeling, let me know. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Bye.